So you know how we usually talk a bunch and we never stay on topic and then just weird stuff happens? Yeah, we made that a podcast. It's called The Tangent. So go over to twitch.tv/actualjake and you can watch it live. Or we'll clip it out and some of it'll show up here and some of it'll show up on Unpopular Culture, which is our other channel. So yeah, you should do that. There's a link in the description. We stayed on topic for that whole promo. I don't have a logo, but just it's the tangent. What?
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
La 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 la. Here we go. It's the Bible reloaded, logic explosion, like Jesus and Moses, but it's Hugo and Jake. The Bible is jaded, and most of it taken, so get educated with Hugo and Jake. Pull up you and stop what you're doing. It's Bible reloaded time. They call it debated, the theist will hate it, like talking to taken, but it's Hugo and Jake. So on with the show then, it's not candy coated, it's the Bible reloaded with Hugo and Jake.
Hello everyone, I'm Hugo.
And I'm Jake.
And this is Hugo and Jake. Welcome back to the Atheist Bible Study. Today we're going to be starting Hosea. Last time we ended right after Daniel in the Lion's Den. After that, there's a few more chapters, and by a few I mean 4 or 5, which isn't what a few means.
No, that's more than that.
But Daniel has some visions. It's just about the future of Israel. It's very vague for the most part, so not a lot happens. You can read that for yourself if you want. There's not a lot to say about it. But
there's a ram and a goat at some point, so if you guys are into goat stuff, we're skipping it. I'm sorry.
There are some verses that Christians will say allude to the end times of Christianity. There's at least one verse I know that specifically they say talks about the Antichrist. It's not, but that's what they claim it's about.
It says the end times.
So, anyway, today we're beginning in Hosea, chapter 1. Hosea's wife and children. And this one's a little spicy.
Is it spicy?
A little bit.
Like sexy or like... Because he says children. There's children in the title of this. Is it?
You'll see.
Okay.
When the Lord began to speak through Hosea, the Lord said to him, "Go and marry a promiscuous woman and have children with her, for like adulterous wives, this land is guilty of unfaithfulness to the Lord." So he married Gomer, daughter of Diblaim, and she conceived and bore him a son. So the Lord, in his infinite wisdom, said to Hosea one day,
Find yourself a slut.
Yeah, find yourself a woman who is definitely going to cheat on you and wife her. For reasons. It's a metaphor. It's like that time they had the other prophet make the poop bread.
Yeah.
Ezekiel. Except in this case, instead of pooping into bread, he's blowing his load into a whore.
That was very eloquent.
It's all from the Bible.
Yeah.
It's all in here.
Yeah.
Then the Lord said to Hosea, "Call him Jezreel, because I will soon punish the house of Jehu for the massacre at Jezreel, and I will put an end to the kingdom of Israel. In that day I will break Israel's bow in the valley of Jezreel." This is interesting in that he's saying that, oh God, he's saying he will soon punish the house of Jehu for the massacre at Jezreel.
Yes.
But that's something he told them to do. In 2 Kings chapter 9, verse 6 through 8, "Thus saith the Lord of Israel, I have appointed thee king over the people of the Lord, even over Israel, and thou shalt smite the house of Ahab thy master, that I may avenge the blood of my servants the prophets, and the blood of all the servants for the Lord at the hands of Jezebel. For the whole house of Ahab shall perish, and I will cut off Ahab, him that pisseth against the wall." God praised Jehu after the massacre, saying he had done well in executing that which is right in mine eyes. And that's in 2 Kings chapter 10, verse 30.
You know, it sounds like two separate factions of the Jewish faith writing different books that would end up in the Bible, and them contradicting each other, because maybe this faction was anti fucking kill everybody. And the other, or at least
that's
Jezreel,
people.
And then the other one was definitely for it.
Verse 6, "Gomer conceived again and gave birth to a daughter. Then the Lord said to Hosea, Call her Lo Rahma, which means not loved. For I will no longer show love to Israel, that I should at all forgive them. Yet I will show love to Judah, and I will save them, not by bow, sword, or battle, or by horses and horsemen, but I, the Lord their God, will save them. You know how some people have, like, we gotta save the marriage kids?
Yeah.
God is having gotta save the religion kids.
Yeah.
And calling them not loved to make a point. How bad do you gotta feel as that kid? Hey, not loved! How you feel? How you doing?
Not great. Not great. Haven't been loved just at all once.
You having a bad day? Having a bad existence. Just the whole thing.
What's a good day for not loved? Like someone maybe they walked in, they had like a bunch of books in the library, and whoa, I got too many books, and one falls off, and then someone, instead of like kicking it further, just leaves it where it's at.
As cruel as kids are, you don't even have to make up a thing to make fun of that kid. Hey, not loved!
Yeah.
I was gonna say the only good day of her life was the day she died, but that's the day she meets the asshole that named her. So this is awkward.
Yeah, this is going poorly.
After she had weaned Lo Ramah, Gomer had another son. By the way, even worse than being married to, by God's own admission, a whore. The only worse thing than that is being married to someone named Gomer.
Right, I keep thinking of Gomer Pyle.
Yeah.
Who was also a fish person in that other movie. So, but he was a man. He was a man person. Was the joke that he was a whore, or is that lost on people? I don't know, because I've never heard anyone else named Gomer besides those two. So is that like a
No?
You don't think?
No.
Andy Griffith?
No.
Was like, you big slut.
No.
What's his real name? Don Knotts?
Don Knotts.
You think Don Knotts was a slut? You think Don Knotts just laid pipe wherever he could lay it? Well, hold on. Let me rephrase. Because I definitely think Don Knotts took up every opportunity he ever received. What I'm asking is if he had an inordinate amount of opportunities because he was Don fucking Knotts. By the way, if you don't know who Don Knotts is, look at Don Knotts is right there. That's Don Knotts.
Now I'm just thinking of Don. Oh, well, I'm gonna take my penis here.
Do you ever think he said...
Whoa!
Yeah, and he kind of stumbles into a vagina.
All intercourse is a mishap
and
for him.
And then Andy Griffith goes, Don Knotts, what are you doing?
I don't know.
I want to think that Don Knotts was like a real dirty bird. He's like, yeah, I'm going to fucking eat your ass. I'm going to eat your ass and like fucking spit into your puss.
If Don Knotts didn't eat ass, I don't want to live on this planet anymore. Yet the Israelites were like the sand on the seashore. It's rough, it's coarse, and it gets everywhere.
Fuck you!
Which cannot be measured or counted.
Yes, it can! It can be both of those things. You can measure and count it, you just don't want to because there's a lot of it.
Are you going to try and argue to me that you can count
I can't count
all the sand?
I'm saying it's a finite thing. You could theoretically count it, and if it's God, you absolutely can count it.
I think you're just being pedantic when they're making a metaphor.
You can count it.
You could not sit there and
I couldn't sit there.
There is not a conceivable...
Yes, there is. We'll make a giant apparatus, and we'll put whoever wrote that line that you just said that I refuse to re-utter, we'll put them in charge of it, because that's their fucking penance. It's George Lucas, right? George wrote that. I want George to be stuck like Sisyphus, counting sand for eternity.
Every time you talk now, I just... After about 3 seconds, I just see red and hear white noise. And you know, it's... The people of Judah and the people of Israel will come together. They will appoint one leader and will come up out of the land, for great will be the day of Jezreel. Say of your brothers, my people, and of your sisters, my loved one. Rebuke your... Is it rebuke or rebuke?
I think it's rebuke.
Okay.
But I like that you say rebuke.
No.
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 We're 5 years in, you said rebuke every time. Today is the day you asked.
Today's the first day of the rest of my life.
That's the exact thing you fucking would say, isn't it?
But check this out. Rebuke your mother, rebuke her, for she is not my wife, and I am not her husband. Let her remove the adulterous look from her face, that the unfaithfulness from between her breasts.
Okay. Do whores make a certain face, Are they just constantly licking their lips and pretending there's a dong in there? Like, That whore face?
If that's not gift by the end of today,
Oh, yeah,
I'm gonna be real upset.
Yeah, that's really disappointing, honestly.
Otherwise, I will strip her naked and make her as bare as the day she was born. I will make her like a desert, turn her into a parched land, and slay her with thirst.
Okay, she's a slut. She's there's no way that she would be like a desert. Just slick all the time.
I will not show my love to her children. One of the children's named Not Loved. I feel like at least one of those kids, that threat's gonna fall on deaf ears.
Yeah.
Oh really, you're gonna withdraw all this warm and loving parental presence I've been feeling my whole life? Sorry, just checking. Their mother has been unfaithful and has conceived them in disgrace. She said, I will go after my lovers who give me my food and my water, my wool and my linen, my olive oil, my drink. Therefore, I will block her path with thorn bushes. I will wall her in so that she cannot find her way. She will chase after her lovers, but not catch them. She will look for them, but not find them. Then she will say, I will go back to my husband as at first, for then I was better off than now.
So... is this where Christians get the whole, like, people who have sex are bad?
I don't know.
Because we've been making jokes, but, like, if you want to, like, this is also implying she's a sex worker.
Yeah.
Fucking live your life, man. If you that's how you want to make your living, I think that's fine. I don't give a shit.
Especially at a time when literally women couldn't, like...
do anything. Whereas, like, the most agency you could get was like being your own small business owner, and your business just happened to be your vagina. It was. That's fine. I think that's okay.
The Bible just makes me sad.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think, if anything, I am more pro whores than I was moments ago. Now it's just a spite thing. Imagine a country filled with whorehouses, where the Christians all had to be mad at it. But of course they all go. Not all of them, just a lot of them. That'd be amazing. You have to pay with a credit card. Yeah, because it's like
For incidentals.
Right. Yeah. You have to. Well, it's a down payment, basically. It's like, it's like a hotel. You don't. If you trash it, we got your records.
It's like McDonald's. You can't give them the food at the first window and expect them to pay it the second.
Right?
You gotta
yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I imagine going.
I appreciate that you put women's lives akin to fucking chicken nugs.
I'm just saying. I'd imagine paying for sex sounds like a great idea when your balls are full of cum.
Oh, yeah. But once it's gone, you're like,
wow,
what did I do?
You're like, I have bills. My kid has karate class. That's expensive.
I could have just had an interpersonal relationship. But instead I emptied my balls into, what's your name? Tammy? That's not your real name. It is? Oh.
Your parents knew. Therefore, I will take away my grain when it ripens, my new wine when it is ready. I will take back my wool and my linen intended to cover her naked body. So now I will expose her lewdness before the eyes of her lovers. No one will take her out of my hands. I will stop all her celebrations, her yearly festivals, her new moons, her Sabbath days, all her appointed festivals. I will ruin her vines and her fig trees.
Like he's just vandalizing some sort of, like, a tree in someone's backyard. Like, ah! He's got little clippers.
Tree crime.
You ever tried to, like cut a vine? Have you ever physically tried to do that? Not easy. I know he's God. But still, if he doesn't have something with a lot of, like, leverage, like an actual, like, a trimmer, if he's just going for the hand things, he's gonna have fatigue over some time.
He's very mad that his whore wife, who he was specifically told to marry because of her whoredom. By the way, I'm not making up the word whoredom. In the King James Version, it says whoredom, which is fucking fantastic, by the way. And she's being punished despite, like, going in. That was the deal. Yeah. God said this is what was...
It was always the deal.
Oh, so odd. It's like going into an open marriage and then being mad when, it's open, like...
It was open.
We talked about this. Therefore, I am now going to allure her. I will lead her into the wilderness and speak tenderly to her. There I will give her back her vineyards and will make the valley of Acre a door of hope. There she will respond as in the days of her youth, as in the day she came out of Egypt. In that day, declares the Lord, you will call me my husband. You will no longer call me my master. I will remove the names of the Baals from her lips. No longer will their names be invoked. In that day I will make a covenant for them with the beasts of the field, the birds in the sky, and the creatures that moveth along the ground. Bow and sword and battle I will abolish from the land, so that all may lie down in safety. I will betroth you to me forever. I will betroth you in righteousness and justice. In love and compassion I will betroth you in faithfulness, and you will acknowledge the Lord.
This sounds like entrapment.
It's interesting because I don't know if you guys have noticed, this is like the 5th or 6th time. Again, you talked about this earlier, about how it seems so culturally ingrained that they blame all of their problems on wickedness of some group internally and say that this is the wrath of God. It's just so interesting to me. This is like the 6th time that the answer to their problems is some sort of someone comes forward and says, we need some sort of reformation. This is a new covenant with God.
Again.
This is like the 7th covenant they've made with God and started over because culturally it's so ingrained, this idea that our problems are our own fault. I mean, there's this trope in comedy of the self-loathing, like, Jewish person.
Well,
like,
it comes from it's
culturally
ingrained.
It seems like in the Old Testament, it is such a thing. It is so bizarre. And I just don't understand.
Someone's always coming to get them.
It's interesting, and it's interesting how you can see in that region, clearly, I mean, just historically looking at it and seeing how often, remember that episode of Doctor Who where there's a species that literally the whole thing is the planet just is invaded constantly by different people?
And then they acquiesce, right?
Yeah, it's very similar to that in that it's a culture that formed around essentially
being dominated.
Other people coming in and fucking around because the land or the area they're in is land that people want.
Right.
So it's so interesting how the entire religion, the culture, the personal identity of the culture is all wrapped around this idea of bad things keep happening and trying to find a reason why. And the reason they come up with is it has to be us, right?
But the problem is it's not. The reason is us, but it's not our actions necessarily. It's our piety. It's our adherence to the God of Israel. It's not that, oh, we picked a fight with this group of people we shouldn't have, or we got some wrong information and reacted poorly, or our political situation is fucked. No. Or someone's a whore. Yeah. It's or we tried other gods out. It's always we weren't good enough in his eyes. That's the problem. He's doing this because of us. So it's like there's still, they almost can't like keep all the blame because as a society, and also how information works there. I mean, it's a deeply religious area. It always has been, and so of course they would go like, well, God must be doing this because God has to be affecting the world constantly, or what is he for?
I find it interesting, and I find it interesting especially when you look at that psychology and then moving forward when it grows into Christianity and that ideology essentially spreads to the point where it's like the dominant religion in the world. It's interesting how that same idea grows and has spread throughout Western culture, and you have this idea of original sin, which very much coincides with those ideas and seems a natural outgrowth of those things. It's so interesting, and I feel like a lot of our own societal things, you can look back and actually see seeds of it in this religion because it ended up spreading so far and turning into Christianity and being... It's just weird. Weird that literal probably battles over small areas of land in the Middle East because of lack of resources in an area can shape the psychology and theology of the entire planet.
That's probably good for today.
Yeah.
We are 32 pages away from the New Testament.
We're getting
32.
There. We're coming for you, Jesus!
Yeah.
I think the Romans got there first,
actually. I think they did. And, yeah. So, pretty excited about that.
Yeah. So, you can always follow us on Twitter at Papa Bird Jake.
You can follow Hugo at Hugo Reloaded. You could also follow us on Twitch at Actual Jake. Make sure to go over there and follow and stuff because we're going to be doing The Tangent podcast. We will be clipping some stuff out depending on the content. But if you want full episodes, uncut, that's where to come. There's kind of no format right now. Maybe we'll fall into a format, but it's called The Tangent because we go on tangents.
It's going to be very lax.
Very
it's going to
lax.
be just sitting and talking and BSing. So if
Yeah.
that's a part of the show you like, that's what that show's going to be.
Yeah.
Except much looser. And...
Yeah, we'll have topics and stuff to talk about. But also, probably near the end of the show, right when we're about to wrap up, I think probably taking fan questions and stuff is fun.
Sure.
Or just anytime we are lack of stuff, material. You can follow his Twitch over at
Hugo Reloaded. And I keep fucking saying I have so many things I need to do. One of them is going to be this week. What? Fuck it. What's today? No, just...
Today is...
So, I'm not going to be home alone tonight. Tomorrow I'll do a Twitch stream. Wednesday I'll do Batman.
Batman!
And I guess that's it.
I just like the idea of... Like, they immediately think Batman video games. No, it's just Hugo dressing up as Batman.
No.
Walking in and out of frame going, Justice! I am the knight.
That'd probably be more entertaining than me just,
Yeah.
That's almost postmodern art. If I do that.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
Hang that in a gallery.
Okay. So, you can also send us stuff for the P.O. Box live streams at the P.O. Box on the screen. You can also subscribe to the channel, share if you like the thing, tweet about it, tell your family. You can put the hat on. I think that's my hat. Is that yours?
It fits
backwards.
It fits almost perfectly. I think this one's mine.
There you go. No, that's why I think it was mine.
No, I think my...
I'm pretty
well,
sure.
put it on your head. How's it fit?
Yeah.
That's yours. That fits like butter.
Yeah. Butter doesn't fit.
Butter. Like it's got butter and it slides on.
Oh. No, I don't want it. This is fantastic. Okay, so yeah, also, Patreon.
Until next time, I'm Hugo.
I'm Jake.
And there's been the Bible Reloaded on Hugo and Jake. I almost forgot the name of the thing we've been doing for 6 years.
Has it been 6?
Yep.
No, not till July.